Hello, hello, this is Paper Cuts Included coming to you live from the Ninja Turtle sleeping blanket. And that's how you know legit. Today we're going to start a new series. This isn't going to be like those pickup videos you've seen if you're a long-time viewer. And it's not going to be a co-host video like we did last night. Or depending on when that episode drops. This series is going to be titled Tips and Tricks. Like I've talked about, this channel is made by 3 working artists. And we're here to talk about comic book arts in general. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about some tips and tricks I use in my art making, or skills. I don't know if I really call it skills. And that being the big boogeyman of references. Some people have a big stigma with reference. I've met some artists who refuse to use any reference, and I've met some who use them probably way too much. So today we're going to just kind of look at what I use for references, and I don't know if I'd call it my opinion on it, but surely some of my thoughts on the matter. So I guess I'll just get to it and say what my thoughts are. I think it really depends on how you're using references. If you're using it as a learning tool, that's great. I think you're putting yourself at a disservice if you're not trying to learn from compositions. I've taken figure drawing classes, and if you don't believe in references, does that mean I can't look at a model and draw them? If so, I guess Alex Ross is in the wrong then, because he's probably one of the most famous comic book artists who uses models. He has several photographs of his Kingdom Come line with his models for like Superman and what's his name? Orion. Is that Darkseid's son's name? But anyway. But no, I think it's great to use as a learning tool. I think if you're trying to draw something you've never drawn before, you can use it, but don't just straight curb it. Try to add some sort of flair of it. If you see a brick wall, or if you're using brick wall for reference, don't draw just a brick wall. Put some graffiti on it. Put some cracks in the bricks. Put something to make it have a spin so no one can directly call you out for curbing. If you're drawing a cityscape, make some neon signs. Draw some broken windows. Draw an airplane. Do something. So I guess that's my thoughts. You can use it. I think you should. It'll help you learn as an artist, especially using it for a learning tool like with compositions and stuff. But don't be afraid to use it, but don't use it too much, which is such a fine line, I feel like. But now we're going to talk about kind of some good reference points to try. I guess I'll do the easy ones first. There's some apps I use for references. Some of that's like Pinterest. I think Pinterest is a really good app for kind of finding references. I think Google can be okay at times, but Google runs out really fast of good images. That's why I say Pinterest, because Pinterest you can make boards. Like if I'm working on a specific print, I can just make a new board. Let's say I'm working on a Frank Miller print. I can find some cool shadow photography and put it in a Frank Miller board. And that helps me quite a bit actually. So I would recommend Pinterest, and if you are short on time, Google's okay. But if you look up white guy in a white t-shirt, Google's going to give you, if there's 10 images, 9 of them are going to be pretty horrible. So pixelated, the same exact one. And don't even get me started on watermarks. But in the new age me, and I'd say from about, I've always bought books to study, but here, up until, about a year, I've really been hitting up Goodwills for stuff like this. And what I mean by that is stuff like a Sears 1909 catalog book. Like, this stuff is little snapshots of time. If you're doing a period piece, I recommend these so much. Jeff Darrow, Uncle Darrow, he's famous for using these. And I can see why, because you can open up and let's say you need to see what a telescope looked like in 1909. Well, there's your telescope. Some pretty good illustrations. Let's say you need a gun. Well, there's some guns right there. I hope YouTube doesn't not demonetize me for that. It's even got descriptions. Here's some banjos, $2.45. Stuff like that. So these are really good, and usually they're really cheap when you find them. I'd tell you I'd prefer analog stuff like this other than internet, because once you get it, you'll never lose it. Whereas, let's say you got the perfect images, if you forget to save them, good luck trying to find them sometimes. But yeah, stuff like this. And not usually, pretty much anytime you walk into a Goodwill, you'll find a book similar to this, or like the next one we're going to talk about, which is like little photo books. Cars, if you're trying to draw cars, buy you like 10 of these, 10 photo books like this, because if you go to Goodwill, they're going to be like $2 each. It's a great investment. And they're, they don't take up that much room. Keep them in a box. Never look at them until you need them. This is a like gas station one. So if I just need some cool gas station ideas, like for the Fallout zine, link will be in the description. There's an awesome reference or an idea. Also use these for inspiration. Like that could be a Fallout gas station so quick. So don't just think you have to draw everything from your imagination. Take inspiration, study this, study architecture, buy architecture books. Architecture is one of the hardest things to draw for me, and I'm sure it is for a lot of people. Or like just compositions, buy books like this, study them. I know it sounds bad, but if you buy this new, it's like a $40 book. So that's why Goodwills are awesome, because you can find probably 10 books at a given time like this for like $2 each. So it's pretty good. But hey, if you want to support bookstores, by all means, just after you buy comic books, of course. Priorities. Buy some comics, then buy some reference books. But no, like if you need a reference for a pen or advertisement, or you just want some typography ideas, stuff like that. This stuff is immensible. It's, I can't, like, antique stores, I know they're a good way to get stuff like this. Goodwill, antique stores, garage sales, estate sales, worth checking out for stuff like this. Because who knows, maybe you're trying to find a very specific car model that was only like 20 of them were made, you can't find them. I'm sure there's a book at a garage sale all about it. So, yeah, and probably, I think it was one of the books I was working on, I used, it was this exact pump for the cover. So hopefully you'll see that soon. I gotta get back on that. It's a dinosaur book. If I haven't released that in like a month or two, if I haven't released that by the end of May, comment below and give me hell for it, because I need to get the ball rolling on that one. But no, so here's like a photo book. Going back to inspiration, buy art books. These you can find maybe a little bit harder at Goodwills, at least good ones, but museums, events, get stuff like this. It supports the museum, which is always good. It supports whatever institution you're going to. I got this at the Memphis Museum of Art, which, you could probably buy stuff like this from any museum, but stuff like this is cool. You get to learn about history, you get to learn about art, you get great inspiration. That's why I bought this. You're not going to find a whole lot of better typography examples than French posters, in my opinion. So, yeah, we'll flip through this cautiously, because them French people be perverts. So I don't want to show some nice French ladies and get demonetized for it, if you know what I mean. But no, like, that's a great reference for how someone rides a bicycle. Try to draw someone riding a bicycle, and it'll become very hard very fast. It also teaches you some topography and how to line up, create this perfect composition. That's why you buy stuff like this. It's a learning tool. You study it. Like Kayfabe has said, you got to put 1,000 hours in. Every 1,000 hours you put in, you get a little bit better. So I count this as 1,000 hours. You're studying. If you're drawing for 1,000 hours, spend another 1,000 studying. Such an iconic poster. I'm an art person in the art field. I won't say specifically what, for doxing purposes. But let's just say stuff like this is great teaching tools. But yeah, stuff like this is great. I implore any artist, any person interested in drawing, buy books like this, buy books like that photo book of that Sears catalog. This stuff will be your tools, and most of the time you can get stuff like this for cheap. Like I said, it's if you're an artist on a budget, take $5 to Goodwill, see what kind of books you can buy. Like, here's a Goodwill purchase I got a couple years ago, which is a good studying for comics in general, is like these Calvin Hobbes books. Which, you know, I'm not going to beat the dead horse on how amazing stuff like Calvin and Hobbes is, because I'd argue it's one of the best comics of all time. But here's your 1,000 hours of studying. Study how a guy makes 4 panels into a story, because that's hard too. Try to draw a great story in 4 panels. If you're the Marvel way, you can't do it, and you're going to try to make 20 pages of crap trying to tell 4 panels of story. Suck it, Marvel. You heard it here from Paper Cuts Included. But no, like, stuff like this is a great studying tool. I personally prefer Calvin Hobbes over stuff like Peanuts, but I still have Peanuts books. They're both great study tools. Snoopy is great too. But yeah, like I said, great study tools. You'll learn a lot, and if you just study them, like read them every day, or if you're drawing for 2 hours straight, take a 30-minute break and read something. You know, that's what one of my professors told me, is he's a printmaker. He'd work for 4 hours, then sharpen his tools for an hour, and then get back to it. So, yeah, like, just, I can't argue enough how valuable this stuff has been in my art stuff. Like my art making, just studying composition, studying typography, getting great reference images. You can't fight this value, because if you do, it's going to be detrimental. Like, don't ever walk into a room and think you're the best artist and that you can draw anything and everything from your mind, because you can't. That's just a phase. Get this kind of stuff and study it, and be willing to fail at a drawing immensely. Draw the worst car ever one time, and then buy a book, study it, and I betcha one aspect of that car is going to get better. Be it a wheel, be it a fender, a mirror. Something's going to get better as soon as you study one of these books. Or if you try to do a 4-panel story and you can't figure it out, 1,000 hours of reading stuff like this, something's going to click. You're going to be like, oh, maybe I should just cut a panel out, and it's 3 panels, and you lose some awkwardness. Like, I can't argue enough how much this will help you. And that's why I'm going to be starting this series. That's, if you didn't hear, it's going to be called Tips and Tricks. Maybe I'll try to do once a week, once every other week. Be when I remember what helps me, and I hope my co-host is hearing this, and maybe he can pop some stuff off too. He's pretty limited on his art making, being all across seas. So maybe he can talk about how to do art on a budget, or how to do art without all the materials I have. He's got pencils and Prismacolors. So I'd love to see how he does some of the amazing things over there. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. If you made it to the end, I implore everyone to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. I believe the summer of 2024 is going to be super big for this channel. We're sitting at 7 subscribers right now, but hey, that's more than 0. I'm shooting an arbitrary goal out there, but by summer's end, I want to get at least 20. So we're going to try to do a co-host video a week. I'm going to be trying to do a solo video once a week if we can't get a co-host, and I'm sure my co-host will be doing something amazing. He's an amazing artist. I can't thank him enough for being in last night's video. His link will be in the description. My link will be in the description. I guess I'll send you on some marching orders, and then I'll get out of here. Make more art.